All right, we're back with more #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. We're live, and if you just tuned in, we talked a lot about the Steelers and their collapse there in the first segment. I want to look a little bit ahead of what is down the road now. And Jason Mackey, you look at their schedule. You know, people thought this was going to be a win, and the way it looked at halftime, get to 8-3-1, you still have your eyes on a second seed potentially. Now 7-4-1, the division comes back into play because the Ravens have won 3 in a row with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. So the Steelers have a tougher road than any of these teams. What do you expect now, and how difficult will it be to bounce back, even though they got Oakland next week?
I think in Oakland has never been a favorable place to play for the Steelers either. But I think back to 2 weeks ago before the Denver game, and everybody sort of making plans for the AFC Championship game and talking about, you know, Kansas City, New England, they're right there in the thick of things. To me, all of that has just been blown to smithereens at this point. The Ravens are right there. They've seemingly found their way back. The Steelers are reeling, and the schedule down the stretch is just impossible. I don't see how it's not a complete coin flip right now. I mean, I still like the Steelers' chances, but I think we all need to revisit whether we're actually thinking of this team as anybody who's going to make some noise in the AFC. I just don't think they are at this point.
Baltimore's defense has to be a concern because Lamar Jackson can't really throw the football. But with them doing zone read, RPO concepts, and everything else, their defense went into Atlanta today and just laid the wood to the Falcons. How can you predict, if you're a Steelers fan, you just watched what you saw, especially in the second half, how could you predict anything better than 9-6-1 for this team? Okay, they're going to beat Oakland next week, you would think, although that's a classic game that they would lose. They're probably going to lose to New England, who, by the way, might not be the same old Patriots, but they're going to be good enough to come in here and win. They're going to get creamed by the Saints in the Superdome, and then they're going to beat Jeff Driscoll in the final game of the season in Cincinnati. That's 9-6-1. You feel good about that win in the division? Awesome. I don't.
Well, I actually do, Chris, because the Ravens still have to play at the Chargers and at the Chiefs, and I don't know that they're going to win either of those games. So just looking at each team's schedule, I think they're both going to go 2-2 if I had to guess. But, okay, what does that mean? That means the Steelers are the 4 seed. They're probably going to get the Chargers right back here in the first round of the playoffs. That sure looks like a coin flip game to me. Then you got to go to Arrowhead probably, and if you pull that off somehow, probably go to Foxborough.
But I'd rather do that. I'd rather see the Chiefs in that divisional round than have to see New England again.
Right.
I mean, I would rather see them in the 4th spot. You're probably right.
Agreed, but you're going to have to beat them both to go to where you want to go, and I don't see that happening right now.
Probably not happening at all.
No.
It's going to go right down to the end, as it always does in the NFL. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go around the horn for this week's Smooth Moves, brought to you by Pittsburgh's largest supplier of the smoothest granite, marble, and quartz countertops, Armina Stone. So we ask these guys, smoothest move of the week. It doesn't have to be local sports, but if it is great, it could be anything. Chris, we'll start with you.
You know what my smooth move is going to be to what? Was it Chris Fowler on the call of Pitt Clemson last night? In the fine tradition of Al Michaels and Brent Musburger, in a game that was long past the point of being over, he made sure that Clemson's final touchdown was noted for, what it meant to a certain subset of the population watching the game, as only the smoothest announcers can do.
Josh, what do you think?
My smooth move, I'll go with hockey, which is my forte. After practice the other day, Mike Sullivan had a 20-minute conversation with Derek Brassard, who is really struggling right now and really hurting the Penguins. In fact, since he was acquired, the Penguins have lost 30 of their 57 games, by the way. And Brassard responded to this long chat by being the only Penguins forward to not register a shot on goal on Saturday night. This guy's a problem.
Well, Josh, you kind of had some sarcasm in there. I'm going to stick along those same lines. Tom Wilson, the Capitals, the NHL Department of Player Safety, just sickening this past week for his hit. Oh, I'm sorry. No, he didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't
incidental contact. What are you talking about? That's what it always is with him.
So smooth move of the week there, continuing to act like there isn't a problem.
And Capitals are in big denial there. Anyway, that leads us next. We'll talk about the Penguins and what's wrong with them, what could be done to change things. It's all coming up next on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.